Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, as we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. We're recording quite late because I was busy for basically the entirety of today, and I also was just like, wait a minute, I'm not recording an Animal Crossing episode today. My initial plan was to do it in the morning, actually, before I was busy, but then I didn't leave enough time. We'll get on to a second, but basically things took a bit longer than I thought in the morning, and I was like, okay, I don't have time, so I guess I'll do it afterwards. And then I forgot until now, but I haven't. But good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:25 p.m. on Sunday, June 8th, 2025. Basically today we're celebrating a friend's birthday, and in this group, what we usually do, there's a small little group of four of us, as we do like these weird, wacky, wonderful projects. They used to be like pretty sizably big projects or big things, you know. They range from like making music, making comics, and the most recent one, not most recent, was it most recent? It might have been the most recent one, making a game, which is absolutely insane, and I will say was not intended to be that large in scope, but a lot of friends wanted to join in and do it, and I was like, okay, more power to you. This one is actually, I think, definitely one of the better ones, because not so much that I think everything was perfect about it, but I think it was almost perfect for the person it was for, and it went off basically almost as expected. Like, there was almost nothing which was, and you know, there were fail safes as well, kind of in, but it was basically a treasure hunt or a treasure trail. I'm not going to say it's a scavenger hunt because he wasn't really like finding things, but it was basically I can't remember now, it was quite a while back, but we went around places from his and our childhood or whatever, things that we know as common places, and I have like one of those Instapix Polaroid cameras from Fujifilm, and we basically took that because he really likes geoguessr. He's done these sort of like treasure hunt sort of things before and really liked them, so we sort of combined them together, where the idea would be like, it would be a treasure hunt trail with these Polaroids, and he'd have to like find the location, being like, oh, that was like our old school, or oh, that was a shop we used to go to, or oh, this was something else from where he grew up, and it would be like that essentially. It was really, really lovely. That was the main concept behind what we were going to do, would be a geoguessr treasure hunt. And then it sort of evolved a bit, because we were like, some of these Polaroids might be a bit difficult to do. You know, is it also going to be a bit boring if you're just doing a Polaroid every time? So we added basically 2 more layers on top of it. One, making it more like a treasure hunt, is I wrote out like a riddle for every single location, which basically sort of hinted at what was going on. Some of them were sort of easier than others, and some were rather difficult, you know, just kind of like your mileage may vary. And then I gave like an entire layer above of it, which was a very, very difficult layer, but was a bit of a different take, which was basically cryptic clues, kind of like a cryptic crossword thing. An example I'll give, which is like, I'll make up a place, because it's actually one of them was a place called like a clock tower. That's generic enough, and I think I can't remember exactly what cryptic clue I gave now I think about it. Let me open up Google Drive so I can see it. But it was basically about like, everything had 3 clues. It had a cryptic clue, which would be like the first thing to try and would be very, very difficult. The second thing, which would have been the riddle, which I think in most cases would at least give you the right idea, and the third one being like, now you have the 2 clues, you should know where this has been taken. So what did I do for clock tower? Oh, I called it register spire, something like that, because to register something is to, I meant to, well, register, as I understand, is to like clock something, but also like to register in is to also clock in. You can say that, and spire is just tower, so something like that. Actually, the clock tower is a great example as well, because this has a riddle. A lot of the other riddles, like clock tower is such a generic thing, it was actually very easy to write a proper riddle for. The other ones were like specific locations, like this very specific place, which basically meant the only thing I could do as a riddle was hint to the general idea, being like, oh, we like ate a lot of lunch here or something. But this clock tower one I'm actually proud of. I probably shouldn't have told you the answer, but here it is, in case you want to use it. It's high above our heads, where no arms can reach. There stretch out 2 hands with different lengths each. A pale face of black, A pale face with black markings and plenty. You read along for, but you say 20. Now again, these aren't like the most in-depth riddles because these were riddles and puzzles created to fit the purpose we needed, rather than what you normally do for a riddle, being like, oh, I have like this nice idea of something which would work for a riddle, and then you can twist the answer as you see fit. Which is my one criticism from my perspective of how it worked out, is I would have changed the cryptic clues in some other cases. Some of them were straight up impossible, some were gettable. He actually got, I think, like 3 of them or something before seeing all of the other clues, which I was like very impressed by, to be honest. But some of them were just impossible. Like one of them was like a name of a school, which has a really long name. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 word name, and the cryptic clue is just absolute insanity for it. So there's no way to essentially get it. Some of them are kind of doable, but again quite difficult. So probably what I would have done if I were to do this again is I would have done the ones which are easy I would have done as a cryptic clues. Ones which are slightly challenging I would have kept as cryptic clues, but ones which were just silly impossible I should have replaced with a different puzzle. Something like the one that I always do is like, oh, like it's an emoji or something. Can you guess the thing from the emojis? Mainly because it was like, a lot of them were so difficult, there's no point interacting with them, which in my view is not good puzzle design. You want to be able to engage with all parts of it, not necessarily all in equal amounts. That is one thing I did like, is the fact that each puzzle had a different difficulty. Like in some of the locations, the Polaroid picture was really difficult. Like one of them we took was basically of like a car wash and the window from the outside, but the Polaroid did not get enough light, so it could not take a picture of the details of a car wash very well. That one, the Polaroid, was very difficult, but the cryptic clue gave a good idea, and then the riddle solidified it essentially, or specifically where it was. And that gave a lot of nice sort of potential, nice sort of twists, where it's like, oh yeah, in some cases you should rely on this one, in some cases you should rely on something else. But it shouldn't be the case where you would never interact with it, I think. Anyway, so yeah, once you figured out where it was, we head over to that place and you get Polaroid, and you know, my initial idea was like, you basically like how people do post photos, where they line up the Polaroid, like the cut out photo with the scenery perfectly, and then that would like sort of lock it into place as a submission. That I was just like, you know, on the actual day itself, you know, think about it more. I was like, that's going to be way too much effort. Just do it like vaguely, and we'll just have it as a nice sort of keepsake for the photos. But yeah, we did 20 in total. They were spread out over a while. So like the first like 5 or 6 you could walk to, then we had to drive to the next couple areas, then there was like another batch of like 6 or something which you could walk to, and then we had to drive to the next area, stuff like that. So honestly, I think all things considered, it had probably one of the best executions, full stop, for a game. Like, there was essentially nothing went wrong that I can think of. The only possibly kind of scary part is the fact that we stayed less than a minute. We just basically drove into a car park and drove out to very quickly do one part. So hopefully nothing, you know, comes of that, but we'll see. But it was really nice because a lot of them were tied to like things we had like memories over. It was basically essentially just a really nice day out with friends, walking about. And every few like puzzles you got, like it was every 4 and every 3 he would get a gift. Some of the gifts, you know, they weren't necessarily what I had in mind. The general idea being like we would get him like small accessory style things, especially for like things to do with cooking, because he's like starting to get into cooking more, and running, although that's very difficult to buy actual accessories for. But yes, some of the ones which my friend ended up buying, because the others wouldn't have come in time, not exactly would have been the ones I would have chose personally. They made for very, very good videos, which I'm sure will be an absolute delight to come back and watch to. Watch to? That's not a phrase. Watch every once in a while. But yeah, that was only applied to really 2 of the gifts. So the rest of the gifts, I was like, this is great. And one of them was like, that was even better than what I thought we should be doing. I can't remember what I suggested. I did things like an apron, a tea towel. cannot recall what the other two was. Oh, coasters and something else. Oh, it was like a lunch pot thing. And my one were like, you know me, like I played it, of course, very straight, being like, oh yeah, these are my serious responses, like stuff like this. But I am glad my friend also, you know, influences that as well, because, you know, I tend to play things very serious, very straight, which, you know, works sometimes, and, you know, other times is also like, this is a bit much. Sometimes you need a bit of levity in the situation, which I don't bring much. But yeah, it all tied it up very nicely with a final gift, where I'll probably be talking about, probably in tomorrow's episode, looking at the timing for this. We did like a escape room sort of experience in London thing, a very specific one based on a classic British TV show, and it was a great time. So really, that's why I mean to say that, it's like, it's one of probably the smoothest, I think. What should we say? What should I say? One of the absolute smoothest birthday experience gift things we ended up having. I do need to remember, actually, while we're doing this, remember to upload any photos you have to my friend. Yeah, just to make sure my friends upload them. So yeah, it was by far and away, I think, the smoothest one we've had. I'm trying to think if there's been another smoother birthday sort of gift thing, because not only was it smooth, it was actually like really good. And the birthday boy himself afterwards, I sent a message being like, I actually super rate this one, which is fantastic, exactly what we're looking for, right? Because some of them have been like, wow, this is incredible, or some of them have been like, this is cool, but this is a little bit much, or some of them have, I'm not going to say, I don't think any of them were flops per se, but some of them have definitely sort of been like, this probably didn't work out as smoothly as I wish it could have. But this one was like genuinely like such a perfect one. But there's some other good ones as well, like actually there's two of them, like ones with videos we did were actually really good as well. I'm looking back, like we've done it, like the first one was when I turned 21, and it was basically like songs for the first 5 and 6, and then we started branching out into different ones. Some of them were absolutely insane, but this was a really nice sort of trade of amount of time it took us. Basically we did it in 3 hours, taking all the Polaroids, and then the presents and like ideation we did like bits and pieces out throughout the lead up, and the riddles I basically knocked out in like an hour or 2, I think. Okay, I guess another little nitpick, I did make 2 typos in the riddles. They weren't like game breaking, because they were very much understood and didn't really alter the meaning, but just grammatically incorrect, and I was like, well, you know, 2 is not bad, all things considered. So yeah, I mean, again, the only real nitpick I have is the fact that the cryptic clues were probably too hard in most cases. But, you know, you live and you learn. Again, cut some slack, because it's the fact that we were forcing like these very long answer names to be the answers to these riddles and cryptic clues, which is not how you would create them usually. Actually, a lot of them ones which you make videos actually ended up being pretty good. Yeah, I do look back at a few of these, and some of these I'm like, this was cool, but like some of the ideas didn't exactly. It's very much perfectionist me speaking, because I'm sure most of my, like all my friends have been like, yeah, each of them were like a super fun time or silly time, even if it wasn't necessarily perfect. But me sort of looking at it being like, hey, you know, this is what we could do better and learn from next time, even though I'm 99% sure I would never do a project like this again. Okay, I shouldn't say never, but it's unlikely. Anywho, yeah, so we essentially just did like a really nice sort of treasure trail. That's probably the way to put it. because it wasn't anything which was like super difficult. I think it had a really nice balance of difficulty where it was like it was not impossible, but it had enough of like you had to think about it, you know. And testament to my friend, right? He did very well, but we didn't really need to give, like, he got all the locations from the combined of all 3 clues. Of course, he was also just like, okay, you know, I want to see how all the other clues, you know, work into the puzzle as well. Which I think only the cryptic clues really needed a lot. And some of the riddles I had like very like fun ideas, I think, while making them. But not my best riddles, I would say. But I still very much enjoyed making them. In that sense. And yeah, what else can I say except for it was a very, very successful one. What should I put for the tagline for the thumbnail art? Let's see. Cryptic clues, riddles, and photos. And it was a really good idea for us to do the activity on the same day that we did, no, the gift activity on the same day that we did the main activity. Because it's just sort of like, we did the main activity, we actually got a pretty good time estimation. My estimate was the actual activity would take 3 hours, and then add on whatever time we took for lunch, which was about 40 minutes or so. And the overall time it took was 3 hours 50, I think. Which is almost exactly what we predicted. And we had it like end up basically at a friend's house. And we stayed there, we just sort of like unwinded for like 20 minutes or so, and we were just like, oh, okay, let's catch a train. And let's go do the activity. It was very just sort of seamless. That's what makes it most impressive to me. It's not like necessarily the criticism, the analysis of the activity, but how well sort of organisationally wise it just all linked together beautifully. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewells. Until next time. Bye bye for now.